Hello everyone. Today we're going to be reviewing That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. I recently finished it, but Matt's seen it way before me.
Mhm.
Matt's also here with me
A
again.
and I've read
Um,
the visual novel, or not the visual, I've read the light novel.
oh yeah, that's right. He has dived more into the series than I have. I've only watched the first season of this show
Yeah.
and will like to watch the second season at some point, but yeah, we're going to dive right into it.
Like in a lake? I guess slimes don't float. Ah, crap, am I gonna die again? I can still
About
breathe,
the
though.
plot, it's pretty much this focuses on this ordinary guy in modern day Tokyo. For some reason, this guy is about ready to stab this. Was it his friend or a girl? I think it was like a girl that the guy was about ready to
He
stab.
he walks into the person being stabbed.
Yeah, and he gets stabbed in the back and pretty much dies from that. He wakes up and he's been reincarnated as something else in another world, pretty much a slime. And he starts to just, explore and he comes upon a dragon. They become buds. And then he devours him to get him out of this spell that he's been trapped for 300 something years
Yeah.
now. And after that, he pretty much goes on his adventures. Now, what I do like is the fact that he's an adult in this body, so he has more knowledge of things than, let's say, your typical Isekai, where it's mostly a teenager being transported to another world. At least with this, they did do something different. It's
I mean,
older man.
Gate did a very similar thing.
Okay, well, yeah, gay, but like that. But well, with Gate though, it's like in our world, and then this gate opens, and then they
Yeah.
go to another world. This is like a guy,
Right, but
an
he's
older,
still an adult. He's like in his 30s.
but pretty much that's where his journey starts. He befriends goblins, and he helps them grow. He gets the goblins and the wolves to be pals. And I don't want to go into any further plot than that, otherwise it just spoils the rest for everybody that probably hasn't seen it. Pretty much it just follows him as he grows. At some point he does get a physical body, but I won't say how he gets it. Character wise, it's pretty much his story, but he befriends all these creatures, the wolves, the goblins, and then what were those people with the horns on their heads and all
You mean
that?
the ogres?
Okay, yeah, them, and they become like this pretty much full pack, and he's like the leader of the group. He's very calculative, but since he's older, he probably has more experience. I will say for him, it's almost like everything goes right for him, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if this is really a good comparison. Let's say Indiana Jones, how he's in the dire situation, and somehow it always ends up right for him at the very end. It's almost like that with him.
Or Kirito.
Okay, well, yeah, Kirito. But would you consider him this character? Forgot his name. What did they call him in the show?
Rimuru.
Rimuru. Yeah. Would you consider him a Mary Sue?
Well, he has to kind of work for it. Well, he devours his abilities.
Okay.
So he's
Well, that's one
taking someone
advantage.
else's. It's a little different. And then he uses his knowledge with the abilities. And then he's more carefree about his attitude because of that.
That's maybe one thing different between like him and Kirito.
Mm-hmm.
He does have it's like Rimuru and even Naofumi have to work for it, not give it to them. Now with Kirito, I could defend the fact that he was a beta tester. That's one thing. However, he magically can do a lot of things as that story went on, to where it's like, well, he didn't have to work for it. At least with Rimuru, he does work for it, and he almost becomes like sort of a god, at least for that pack. Beat everybody. At least with season 1, everything goes right. He sets up a community and all that. And then you have the other characters like the ogres. They pretty much become loyal to him. And then of course the fan service, whatever her name is, secretary.
I mean, there is her.
There's her. Then there's the princess, samurai guy, ninja, the elderly. Then of course the small goblin.
Oh yeah, him.
That can that's actually very tough but never changed. Is there anything you want to add on the characters?
Not. Oh, you forgot the dwarves. There's a whole
Oh
dwarven.
yeah, that's right. The dwarves. They also make weapons for him.
Yeah.
But he also hired them too. They one of the dwarfs. Okay, so he has a pretty big family. He's got like what 4 brothers. There's a conflict between him and this guy. Was he like a governor or was he the counselor? I don't remember. He's just he was like a politician. There was conflict with him and he was banished, but joined Rimaru's group, and so he forges all this stuff and helps him out. So that's how he pretty much builds his community. But overall, the characters have their different personalities. You get to see them do their things once in a while. But I feel like there's a few characters that it focuses on more than others. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Of course, I know Rimaru's the main lead here, and it focuses on him. But you have some more screen time with the secretary, even a little bit of the princess. But then the main ogre guy with red hair.
Mm-hmm.
And then at some point, there's the girl, the forest god. Was she a goddess? A forest goddess?
Yeah.
Yeah, she shows up. Pretty much everybody ends up coming to him for something.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes. And then there's this mysterious girl. What was her name again?
Shion?
Shion. Yeah. Mysterious girl Shion. She's also got an interesting past, but they don't dive like a lot into her. Like the only thing you know is that she actually came from a time when the world was at war, and you do get some glimpses of when she was little and a freak accident happened that killed somebody in front of her, and then you only see glimpses of what she was doing during her lifetime. And then of course she's got these kids that she's trying to help because of some power that's within them that might kill them at some point.
Yeah.
Now, I would say she was interesting, but I don't know. I don't know if I want to say too much because that would just give it away. I would just say don't expect her too much to be around. Animation, I would say the animation's pretty good.
Yeah.
Maybe didn't they use some CGI?
Yeah,
Some scenes.
there's a little bit.
Action scenes were pretty good from what I can remember. Art style's nice,
Mm-hmm.
colorful. At least that's the last section here. As for my enjoyment, I would say I liked it. So I haven't seen all of the seasons yet. I've only seen this season. It's kind of the same right now with Rising of the Shield Hero, where I really liked the first season a lot, but I heard the second season wasn't that good. So I don't know if that will go that way. I know you've seen.
Yeah,
Pretty much
Rise
all.
of the Shield Hero, it was a little different. It wasn't the second season was bad. It was that they rushed. It went too fast.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, do you have anything to add to this first season of Slime?
No, I found it enjoyable. It's good because I did like the animation. I like the characters.
Yeah.
The light novel was really good.
Is it pretty faithful?
I can't fully. I can't remember if there were any differences. I know they were in the dwarf village a lot.
Oh.
I mean, it was the same thing. It's like with the anime, but instead of being like, there's like a couple of chapters, and it was like a chapter or two in the dwarf village, and it may have gone a little more on what was going on with Shion. But I read that like I read that a couple of years ago, so that's why I'm having trouble remembering it.
Because I will say, I felt like Shion's screen time, it was kind of short.
It's the way the novels are kind of built compared to the anime. They will have like with Sword Art, the second the dance with the fairies. That's 2 novels. The first thing is 1 novel and a side story novel.
And they just merge it together.
And they just kind of merge it together and move out. I mean, there's not even that much fluff. It's all accurate and stuff.
Yeah. So, but they I guess, would there be more detail in the light novel than?
There's a little more, but it's more of like it wouldn't work.
Pretty much, you could go into watching this season pretty entertained with every detail.
Right.
Because it's not like SAO's issue where they just took these light novels, they merged them in a way.
Well, they did a little more. Like, SAO doesn't start where the anime starts. It starts halfway through it and then goes backwards and then goes a little and forward.
I also forgot the Lizardmen in Slime.
Yeah.
The lizard
Oh yeah.
people.
Well, you didn't say you want to mention too much. That's why I didn't mention them beforehand.
Yeah.
And you forgot the pig monsters as
Yeah,
well.
the pig mon. There's like, okay, so people, if you were to watch this, expect all like these fantasy creatures that you would know in any other book or story, what have you, to be in this world. It's like that. Overall, I did enjoy it. I
Yeah.
do feel like the first earlier episodes, it did take a bit to kind of get to where it needed to go, but I felt like it did it pretty well.
Oh yeah.
I also like the little Deedlit cameo
Mm-hmm.
in that one scene. That was
Yeah.
up there. Wasn't there another reference to something, I thought?
Did you go up to the other town and the kids and the school?
Yeah, all them.
Some of their mangas may have been references to the light novel company. I don't know. I would have to go back.
Because I know there's one point where he's making all these like copies of of all these mangas he saw.
It's the book covers. It's like with isn't Spice and Wolf in Durarara?
You know what?
Like-
There
like
was so
with
many, I
because
couldn't even
Durarara
tell,
was
but
called-
I assume it might have been in there somewhere. I just wasn't looking.
because they kept on going to like a visual, like to a novel company or something, and there was like a little reference.
Shizu, no!
Let's go!
So as for the verdict, I would say it's pretty fun. I guess if you want a different reincarnated version of an isekai, this would be one. I mean, I think it's been done before in the past. Matt, what would you say would be different with this compared to others?
The difference is that they go more over the top with the powers. They're not limiting the character. Like with a lot of isekais, they would be like, I know there's one that's come out like last year where he's supposed to be a summoner, right? But his whole catch is he can only do massive cool summons, right?
Okay.
With this, it's like, oh, I have these abilities. I got this ability. I made friends with this creature. It's
all like
it's
RPG.
more over the top, and there's no bad consequences to his actions. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, like I
Like-
mentioned earlier, everything goes right in the first season.
Right.
Period. Everything works out. Happy
Right.
ending every time.
Yeah.
Now I did hear second season. Actually, there's more at stake.
Yeah, there is. But, it's not going to be the deepest and most thought-provoking, darkest thing you've ever seen.
Yeah. So my verdict would be it's fun.
Oh, yeah.
What would you I guess rate it?
Oh, same as you. It's fun.
It's fun. Yeah.
It's fun.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode. You could follow me here. Matt tends to jump on every so
Mhm.
often for anime. He also knows a lot about the manga stuff too.
Yep.
How they compare between the anime and the manga, which of course there's always going to be differences.
Yeah.
Anyways, peace everybody.